I am sitting in this small studio apartment I rented 3 weeks ago, staring at my new phone as it buzzes with calls from numbers I do not recognize. The walls here are thin. I can hear my neighbor arguing with his girlfriend about trust, about lies, about someone named Kyle. 7 years ago, I thought my marriage was built on something solid. I thought Sarah and I had figured out the whole partnership thing. We had our morning coffee ritual, our weekend hikes, our inside jokes that nobody else understood. I thought trust was our foundation. Turns out I was building on quicksand. 3 weeks ago, everything I believed about my life shattered in the span of a single evening. Before I tell you how I discovered the betrayal that destroyed everything, I want to know where you are watching from. Drop your location in the comments below. If you have ever felt invisible in your own relationship, hit that like button and subscribe, because this story gets darker before it gets better. Trust me, you will want to see how her family turned me into the villain when all I did was walk away. My name is Buddy. I am 30 years old, and until recently, I worked as a software engineer from home in Portland, Oregon. Sarah was my wife, 32 years old, sharp as a blade, working as a marketing manager for a mid-sized tech company. We met in college, dated for 3 years, got married right after graduation. 7 years of marriage. No kids. We told ourselves we were waiting for the right time, but honestly, we were just comfortable being us. Our life looked picture perfect from the outside. We had a nice 2-bedroom apartment in a quiet neighborhood. We split the bills evenly. We never fought about money. Our biggest arguments were about whether to get Thai or Italian for dinner. Sarah came from a tight-knit family. Her parents, Robert and Linda, lived 20 minutes away. Her younger sister, Jessica, was 28, worked in graphic design, always bubbly and optimistic. Her older brother, Marcus, was 35, a real estate agent, with that aggressive confidence some people mistake for charm. Every other Sunday, we had family dinners at Robert and Linda's house, barbecues and summer pot roasts in winter. I always felt like I was performing during those dinners, trying to prove I was good enough for their daughter. Robert would grill me about my career trajectory. Linda would hint about grandchildren. Jessica would show me her latest design projects. Marcus would brag about his sales numbers. Sarah would squeeze my hand under the table, and I would smile and nod and tell myself this was what family looked like. About 3 months ago, things started shifting. Sarah began traveling more for work. She had always gone on business trips, maybe twice a month, but suddenly it was 5, 6 times. Seattle for a conference, San Francisco for a client meeting, Vancouver for a workshop. She would pack her small suitcase, kiss me goodbye, promise to call every night. And she did call. She would video chat from hotel rooms, tell me about boring presentations and expensive client dinners. I believed every word. Why would I not? We had 7 years of trust behind us, but small details started nagging at me. Her phone was always face down on the table now. She changed her passcode. When I asked why, she said she had to update it for work security. She started coming home later on the days she was not traveling. Meetings running long, she would text. Stuck with a difficult client. Traffic was terrible. I would heat up leftovers for her, and she would eat in silence, scrolling through her phone. When I asked about her day, her answers got shorter. Fine. Busy. Exhausting. I told myself she was stressed. Her company was expanding. Pressure was normal. I was being paranoid. Then came the Seattle trip. She told me on a Wednesday morning over coffee. Big project, she said. 3 days in Seattle, meeting with potential investors. I kissed her forehead, told her to be safe, texted her, "I love you," as she drove away. That was Thursday morning. Thursday night, I was sitting on our couch, trying to decide what to order for dinner, when I opened Google Maps to find a nearby restaurant. And there it was. Her location. We had always kept location sharing on one of those couple things we set up years ago and forgot about. The little blue dot with her face on it was not in Seattle. It was at a resort in Lake Oswego, 30 miles south of our apartment. My hands went cold. I stared at that dot for a full minute, my brain trying to manufacture excuses. Maybe the company changed the meeting location. Maybe there was a last-minute switch. I searched the name of the resort, the Lakeside Haven, a luxury couples retreat, romantic getaways, spa packages for two, anniversary specials, not a single mention of conference rooms or business facilities. I sat there for 3 hours, watching that blue dot stay perfectly still at that resort. I did not call her. I did not text. I just watched. At 1 in the morning, the location turned off completely. I could not sleep. I lay on the couch staring at the ceiling, listening to the refrigerator hum. My brain kept offering explanations. Maybe she was there with a female colleague. Maybe they wanted a nice place to relax after meetings. Maybe. At 7 in the morning, she video called me. I answered. Behind her was a hotel room, expensive-looking big windows with a lake view. "Morning, babe," she said, smiling. "Seattle is amazing. Wish you were here." I looked at her face on my screen, at that smile I had trusted for 7 years, and felt everything inside me go hollow. I did not confront her. Not yet. Instead, I started looking. Really looking. I went through our shared credit card statements, the ones we used for joint expenses. Charges I had never paid attention to before suddenly screamed at me. Hotels, high-end restaurants, all on the dates she claimed to be traveling for work. The Lakeside Haven appeared 4 times in the past 2 months alone. I felt sick. I called Grant. We went to college together, stayed friends after. He worked as a private investigator, now mostly insurance fraud and corporate cases. I told him everything. He did not ask questions, did not judge, just said he would look into it. 1 week. That was all he needed. 1 week later, he handed me a folder in a coffee shop 3 blocks from our apartment. Inside were photographs, time-stamped, dated. Sarah and a man I did not recognize, holding hands walking into the Lakeside Haven, kissing in the parking lot of an upscale restaurant, entering a boutique hotel in downtown Portland, while I thought she was in San Francisco. The man was Derek Holloway, a director at her company different department, married, 2 kids. Grant told me he had tracked them for 5 days. They met at least twice a week, sometimes hotels, sometimes his car in empty parking lots, once at a rented cabin near Mount Hood. This had been going on for at least 8 months, maybe longer. I sat there in that coffee shop staring at those photos, feeling like I was watching my life from outside my body. 8 months. While I was making her breakfast. While we were planning our anniversary trip. While I was sitting at her family dinners, smiling at her parents, pretending everything was fine. That weekend, Sarah's family hosted a barbecue. Late June, perfect weather. I drove there with Sarah, listening to her hum along to the radio, acting like nothing was wrong. Robert grilled burgers. Linda made her famous potato salad. Marcus talked about closing a huge deal. Jessica showed everyone photos from her recent hiking trip. I stood there holding a beer. I was not drinking, watching Sarah laugh with her mother, wondering if I was losing my mind. Then Jessica pulled me aside. She wanted to show me something on her phone, some design mock-up for a client. As she scrolled, she said casually, "Sarah told me about that romantic Seattle trip. Derek sounds like a great colleague to travel with." My entire body went rigid. I forced my voice to stay normal. "Derek." "Yeah," Jessica said, still looking at her phone. She mentioned, "They have great teamwork. I am glad her company values collaboration like that." I felt like I had been punched. Jessica had just confirmed it. The family knew about Derek. Maybe not about the affair, but they knew Sarah was traveling with him. I tested the waters carefully. I walked over to Linda, asked how she thought Sarah was handling all the travel stress. "Oh," Linda said, pouring lemonade. "She worked so hard. That Seattle trip sounded exhausting. We are so proud of her dedication." Nobody asked why I had not gone with her. Nobody thought it was strange that a married woman was taking romantic weekend trips. Either they were completely oblivious, or they knew and did not care. Either option made me feel like an outsider in my own marriage. I went home that night and laid everything out on the kitchen table. Every photo, every credit card statement, every hotel receipt. When Sarah walked in from her evening jog, she froze. The color drained from her face. For 10 seconds, she just stood there staring. Then she tried. "This is not what it looks like, buddy. Please, let me explain." I asked her to explain. Explain 8 months. Explain Derek. Explain the lies. She crumbled, sat down on the floor crying. "I made a mistake," she said. "It meant nothing. It was just, I felt lonely. You are always working." Derek made me feel seen. I asked about her family. She looked confused. "What about them?" I told her what Jessica said. Her face went pale again. "They do not know about the affair, buddy. They just know Derek and I travel for work sometimes. That is all." I asked if she understood what she had done. 8 months of lying, 8 months of betrayal. She kept crying, kept saying she was sorry, that it was a mistake, that she would end it with Derek immediately. "We can go to therapy," she said. "My family will help us through this. We can fix this." That sentence broke something in me. Her family will help us. Like this was a small disagreement. Like I was supposed to sit through Sunday dinners while everyone pretended she had not destroyed our marriage. I looked at her crying on our kitchen floor and felt absolutely nothing. No anger, no sadness, just emptiness. I told her I needed time to think. She nodded, wiping her face, looking hopeful. I went to the bedroom, closed the door, and started planning. I did not sleep that night. I sat on the bed, my laptop open, thinking through every angle. If I filed for divorce the normal way, it would be months of drama. Mediation? Her family getting involved, trying to talk me into giving her another chance. Everyone telling me that people make mistakes, that marriages work, that I should not throw away 7 years over one affair. I could already hear Linda's voice, Robert's disappointment, Jessica trying to play peacemaker, Marcus calling me weak for not fighting for my marriage. I would be stuck in this loop forever, constantly defending my decision to leave. So I decided to do something different, something clean. I would disappear. Friday morning, Sarah left for work at 8. I waited until 8:15, then started executing. I had been planning all night. First, I emailed a divorce attorney I had researched, explained the situation, briefly asked for a consultation. She responded within an hour. We set up a video call for that afternoon. While waiting, I went to our bank. We had a joint account for shared expenses. I transferred exactly half into my personal account. Not $1 more, not $1 less. My legal right. Then I started packing. Clothes, laptop, important documents, passport, my grandmother's watch, photos from before I met Sarah. I fit everything into 2 suitcases and a backpack. I had already found an apartment, a small studio in Southeast Portland, a neighborhood where none of Sarah's family ever went. Month-to-month lease. I had signed the papers online the night before. By 2 in the afternoon, my car was packed. I did one final walk-through of the apartment Sarah and I had shared. 7 years of life together. I felt nothing looking at it, just walls and furniture. At 3, I had my video call with the attorney. She was efficient, professional. With the evidence, I had the adultery documentation, the paper trail. This would be straightforward. Oregon was a no-fault state, but adultery still impacted property division. She would file the papers immediately. They would be served to Sarah within 3 days. I wrote a note. Short. Simple. I know everything. Do not contact me. Divorce papers will arrive soon. Goodbye, Sarah. I left it on the kitchen counter, held down by her favorite coffee mug. Then I walked out. I drove to my new studio apartment, unloaded my stuff, and sat on the floor of the empty space. My phone started ringing at 6:30. Sarah. I declined. She called again. Again. 15 times in an hour. I turned off my old phone, completely put it in a drawer. I had already bought a new one. New, Number. Nobody had it except my attorney and my boss. The first 3 days were strange. Quiet. I worked from my laptop, ate takeout, did not talk to anyone. My attorney called on day 2. The papers had been served. Sarah had called the office hysterical, demanding to know where I was, begging to talk to me. The attorney told her all communication would go through legal channels. Sarah sent emails to my old address. I checked them once. Hundreds of messages. I'm so sorry, please come back. We can fix this. I love you. I did not respond to any of them. On day 4, her family started reaching out. Linda sent an email to my old address. Buddy, please talk to us. Sarah is devastated. Whatever happened, we can work through this as a family. I deleted it. Marcus left a voicemail on my old phone. Man, this is not how you handle things. Be an adult. Come talk to us. I did not listen to the whole message. Jessica sent a text. I just want to understand what is happening. Sarah will not stop crying. Please just call me. I blocked the number. By week 2, they escalated. Sarah's family went to my old workplace. I worked remotely, but the company had a downtown office. They showed up asking for me. HR told them they could not share employee information. They tried calling my manager. He knew what was happening. I had told him I was dealing with a difficult divorce, needed some privacy. He protected me, told them I was on personal leave, and he could not share anything. They posted on Facebook, looking for Buddy Morrison, family emergency. Please contact us if you know where he is. Some mutual friends reached out. I ignored them all. Jessica created a group message with people we knew from college. She told everyone I had abandoned Sarah, that she was going through a crisis and needed support. Some people believed her. I started getting messages on my old accounts. What you did is cruel. She made a mistake, but you just disappeared. That is not how you treat someone you loved. I did not defend myself. I did not explain. I just stayed silent. Sarah posted on Instagram a photo of her crying face, puffy and red. My husband vanished. We had problems like every couple, but he just left without a word. I do not understand how someone can be so cold. The post got hundreds of sympathetic comments. I am so sorry. You deserve better. He is a coward. Men are trash. The narrative was set. I was the villain. The cold, cruel husband who abandoned his wife instead of working through their issues. Nobody knew about Derek. Sarah had not told anyone. She was playing the victim perfectly, and her family was backing her up completely. Marcus showed up at my old apartment. The landlord told him I had moved out, lease terminated. He tried to get my forwarding address. The landlord refused. Linda called my mother, who I rarely spoke to anymore. My mom called my new number, the one I had given her for emergencies. She asked what was going on. I told her the truth. Briefly. Factually. Mom was quiet for a long time. Then she said, I am sorry, honey. You do what you need to do? She did not push. She understood. My attorney informed me Sarah was refusing to sign the divorce papers. She wanted mediation. She wanted to talk. I told my attorney no. File for contested divorce. Proceed without her cooperation. The attorney warned me it would take longer, cost more. I did not care. I was not sitting in a room with Sarah listening to her cry and make excuses while her family tried to guilt me into staying. The evidence I had was solid. Photos, bank statements, timeline. Derek's wife had found out too. Apparently, she hired her own investigator. She contacted my attorney, wanted to coordinate. 2 marriages destroyed by the same affair. Week 3, Linda showed up at my company's main office again. This time she somehow got my manager's direct line. He called me after sounding uncomfortable. Your mother-in-law is very persistent, he said. I told her again I cannot share your information. She said this is a family emergency. I told him I appreciated his discretion. There was no emergency, just a woman protecting her daughter's reputation. That same week, Derek's wife went nuclear. She posted everything on Facebook, tagged Sarah, tagged Derek, posted screenshots of hotel bookings, romantic texts she had found on Derek's phone, photos of them together. She wrote a long post about how these two had destroyed her family, how they had been lying for months, how Sarah's husband had found out and rightfully left while everyone was painting him as the villain. The post went viral in our social circle. Hundreds of shares. Suddenly the narrative flipped. People who had called me cruel and cold started deleting their comments. Jessica sent an email. Just one line. I did not know the full story. I am sorry for what I said. I did not respond. The damage was done. They had spent 3 weeks calling me a coward without knowing anything. Sarah's Instagram post got flooded with new comments. You cheated and played victim disgusting. Your husband was right to leave. You do not deserve sympathy. She deleted the post, made her account private. By month 2, Sarah finally signed the papers. She had no choice. Derek had been fired from their company after the investigation. Sarah got a formal warning, reputation in shambles. Her family had gone completely silent. No more Facebook posts, no more calls to my workplace, no more searching. My attorney handled everything. Property division was clean. I kept most of our shared assets because of the adultery evidence. No alimony. We both had good incomes. The house we were renting, I had already moved out so she could keep it or break the lease. Not my problem. I never saw Sarah in person during the entire process. Everything went through lawyers. The day the divorce was finalized, I sat in my studio apartment and felt this massive weight lift off my shoulders. It was over. Legally, officially, completely over. I was 30 years old, single, and starting from scratch. But I was free. Free from the lies. Free from the fake family dinners. Free from pretending everything was fine when it was rotting underneath. I did not feel angry anymore. Anger had burned out somewhere around week 2. Now I just felt calm, peaceful, like I had excised something toxic from my life and could finally breathe again. I started rebuilding slowly. I reached out to old friends, people I had lost touch with during my marriage because they did not fit into Sarah's social circle. I started therapy, not because I was broken, but because I wanted to understand how I had missed the signs for so long. My therapist asked good questions. How did you feel invisible in your own marriage? When did you start prioritizing her comfort over your own truth? I did not have easy answers, but I was working on it. Work was stable. Actually, I got promoted. My manager appreciated that I had kept everything professional, had not let my personal crisis affect my performance. I moved to a better apartment after 3 months. 1 bedroom, lots of natural light. I decorated it the way I wanted. No compromises, no second opinions. I joined a hiking group. Met people who did not know anything about my past. We just walked trails and talked about normal things. Weather, favorite coffee shops, best places to camp. It was refreshing. One Saturday afternoon, about a year after everything happened, I was walking downtown and saw Sarah. She was with a different guy holding hands, laughing at something he said. I felt nothing. No pain, no anger, not even curiosity. Just neutral, like seeing a stranger. She did not notice me. I kept walking. That moment made me realize I had actually moved on. Really, truly moved on. The betrayal was not a wound anymore, just a scar. Part of my history, but not defining my present. I thought about her family sometimes, how quickly they had turned me into the villain without asking questions, how they had tried to manipulate me into staying, into forgiving, into pretending their daughter had not destroyed 2 marriages. I did not hate them. I just understood that their loyalty was to their blood, not to truth. And that was fine. I did not need their approval. I never had. Looking back now, ghosting was not about revenge. It was not about punishing Sarah or her family. It was about protecting my peace. When you are drowning, You do not owe anyone an explanation for swimming to shore. Some people will never understand why you walked away. They will call you cold, cruel, a coward. They will write their own version of your story where you are the bad guy. Let them. Their narrative does not have to be your reality. The truth is, I did not owe anyone an explanation. Not her family, not our friends, not even Sarah. I had given 7 years of trust, of partnership, of showing up every single day. When that trust was shattered, I did not owe her a performance of grief or anger or willingness to try again. I owed myself the dignity of leaving without being talked into staying. Betrayal does not deserve a second chance just because someone cries loud enough. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is disappear and rebuild in silence. Let them call you the villain. Let them post their side of the story. Let them send their family to hunt you down, to guilt you, to paint you as heartless. The people who matter will see the truth eventually, and the people who do not. They were never really in your corner anyway. When her family came for me, calling me the villain, demanding I explain myself, begging me to come back and fix what their daughter had broken, I let them. I let them believe whatever they needed to believe, because I knew the truth. I had the evidence. I had the peace that comes from walking away with your head high. And that was enough. You do not have to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. You do not have to stay in a burning house because someone else is afraid of the cold outside. When everything you built turns out to be a lie, you are allowed to walk away. No explanations, no apologies, no second chances. Just walk. And when they come for you, when they try to drag you back into the chaos, when they call you every name they can think of, you keep walking. Because on the other side of that silence is a life where you do not have to pretend anymore. A life where your peace is not negotiable. A life where you finally understand that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to become completely unreachable to the people who broke you. So here I am, 1 year later, sitting in an apartment that feels like home, working a job I am good at, spending time with people who value honesty, hiking trails on weekends, sleeping through the night without wondering where my partner really is, learning to trust again, slowly, carefully, but genuinely. The ghost they tried to paint me as is actually the most alive I have ever felt. Have you ever had to walk away from someone everyone else told you to forgive? Have you ever been called the villain for protecting your own peace? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one, and I promise you, you are not alone in this. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel because I share real stories about real life, the messy parts nobody wants to talk about, but everyone experiences. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that it is okay to walk away. It is okay to choose yourself. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it helps someone out there understand that silence is not weakness. Sometimes it is the strongest weapon you have. Take care of yourselves. You deserve peace. You deserve truth. And you never ever have to explain why you chose to save yourself.